Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about how to bring your drawings into Sheets, how to make Sheets, and how to dimension. I'm going to show you how I've kind of tried to speed this whole thing up so it doesn't take quite so long. But the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up your perfect title block. So if I open my perfect title block, it shows up here. The first time I open up a drawing, I have to delete this out and enter a new one. And so if I go to the sheet, right, there's sheet 1, and I go to perfect title block, I want to delete it. And then I want to come up to drawing resources, go to title block, and I want to reinsert it. So go to insert. It's going to ask me for all my information. I am not going to do it. I'm just going to do this so you can see that I entered something. And then you'll see that worked, and that's how that should have went, right? So there's your title block. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do and how I'm going to try to make this a little faster. As soon as this is open, you should save this. You go to File, Save As, and name it 13 Isometrics because that's what you're working on, right? And you don't want to accidentally save over your perfect title block. You want to be able to keep that clean and not mess with that. So here's the one that I have. I've done all of this once before. So I'm going to go through. Here's ISO 1. See, I've already done all of my sheets. I'll show you how to add new ones. But rather than take the time to do every one, we're not going to do that. So we're going to go to Drawing Resources. We're going to go to Title Blocks. And we're going to go to Perfect Title Block. And if you notice, I have a Perfect Title Block too. I'll explain what that means later. Go to Insert, and I'm going to put my stuff in. So it's 13, all caps, Isometrics. And then it's ISO 1. And then it's Mr. Duff. And then the date is 01/07/2019. And forget what I used for scale. I think I used 2:1. Actually, I think I used 2:1. And if it's wrong, I'm going to show you how to change it anyway. And then the name of my drawing is A1. The next one will be A2. So I'll kick it up here 2:1. Once I have my title block in, I'm going to go and I'm going to base. It's going to bring up something like this. It's going to let me search to where my drawings are. So I'm going to go to ISO 1. Kind of obvious. That's what we're working on. Say open. And then I need to get this in an isometric view. If I click home, it'll give me my isometric view. That will almost always put you in the view orientation that you want. If it doesn't give it to you quite right, you can change by moving the cube around. Right? Go back to home again. I can also hit the little arrow here and go to custom view orientation. That'll bring me to my actual drawing. Right? And so let's just say I wanted it to look like that, which why would I? I wouldn't. But let's just say I did. I could go to finish custom view and then it will bring it back in that orientation. Now, I want mine in this view. Everything's working out nice for me, so I don't have to worry about that. So let's go to 2:1 and see if that dimension's actually pretty good. And I like that. You have to have room for the dimensions, so I think that's pretty good. So 2:1 did end up being the correct scale. When you open it, it is going to make sure you put it in here so that everything is shaded and filled in. When you first bring yours in, it's most likely going to come in like see-through, like a not shaded drawing, but we want ours shaded. So say OK, and then my hidden line is on. I'm going to double click on this, which will bring this back open, and I'm going to unclick that. Hopefully that's how that'll work. I got to get those lines out of there. So I think it's that and that. Say okay, and that gets rid of the hidden lines. We're actually going to use those hidden lines for some things later. So once you've got your drawing in here, you've got your title block all set up, you can start to dimension. Go to Annotate, go to Dimension, click and pull off. That one went just fine. Brings this box up every time. I would leave it because there's times when you are going to want it. Say okay. Dimension off the back here. Let me go on my other page here and open this up so I have what I want. That's not what I wanted though. I want this. So you can't see it, but I'm looking at this right here. So I'm on ISO 1. So like I just put that 1 in there that doesn't really belong, right? So I'll say okay. I'm going to delete this black out of here because that's not really supposed to be there, I guess. We're trying to match ours up so it looks exactly like the ones that we did. And so this is a good example, right? So if I kick this, it pulls it off at that angle. But this isn't how it looks in my drawing. And I would like to do my best to make the two sets of drawings look the same. So I want this turned out this way. So I'm going to delete this. Hit cancel. I got to get out of the command. Click on the object, delete. Put the dimension on. Do it the exact same way. But this time, as it goes the wrong direction, if I hit the space bar, it'll change the orientation of the dimension. Looks good to me. Set click. The reason with Inventor that you typically don't do drawings like this. You can dimension things, but it doesn't have the customability. It doesn't have the versatility that AutoCAD has. So like, for example, where my text is turned here at this angle. Is it the most important thing in the whole world? Not necessarily, but I can't do that in Inventor. There are lots of things that kind of restrain you from doing it the way that you want to do it. So then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to dimension. We're going to pull down from here, click, See spacebar, say okay. Again, if you look at the text, see how my text is going with it. I can't really make that change from here. There was a thing we were supposed to change. It was in manage, and then I can't remember if this is something you're going to need to do or not, or if we worked around this. Text note, it was here. I forget what we did to it. Looks like it's okay, I guess. Oh, maybe in the size. Your size, yeah, that's what it is. So when you first make your size, I think it brings it in as 0.12. So if you notice, if I say okay, save and close, see how small my dimensions are? So if your dimensions need to be bigger, and when you make it, you're making a change globally. You're not just making it to separate dimensions, and you're not just making it specific to the sheet. You're making it to everything. But in the styles editor, if you go to 2.4 is what I used, and I thought that was pretty good. Save and close, it puts it at a dimension height that I think is reasonable. Okay, so let's keep going here. Back to annotate, dimension. Pull that off, 0.75, say okay. Pull that off, 0.75. Okay, again, we want to make sure that our dimensions stay out of, we don't want anything to go into the title block or across the border. You can even now kind of move that up a little bit. I think we're good. Drawing's done. Really, I told you it was going to be pretty quick, and it was. So look, now I have my next one here, right? So I'm going to go, and I'm just going to double click on this, and I'm going to start adding things. You aren't going to have all of this. So what you should do is you should go to new sheet. You're going to go and you're going to enter all of your information again. 13 isometrics, ISO 2 for a drawing. Your name is whatever your name is. The date, the scale, you'll be able to get off of my drawings. And then you're going to name this A2 like I did here. But again, I've already done all of that so that we don't have that problem. So hit delete. The other thing you should get in the habit of doing is you should rename your sheets. So like right now, this is ISO 1.1, this is ISO 2.2, ISO 1.3. They're all sitting here. The way you rename them is if you double click on it, it doesn't usually give it to you rename that quickly, but if you kind of like click slowly, you can rename it to, see, that's ISO, it's going to be ISO 3 or whatever, but you'll see as we go. But it's okay. Here's ISO 2. We're going to bring our drawing in, so go to place views, base, bring it in here, ISO 2, open. My scale is 2:1. Click there. If that's actually 2:1, that's not big enough. So let's bump up this scale. Looks like my scale down here is wrong. So let's make this 3:1. I would even argue 4:1. 4:1. See how that looks. That's getting there, I would say. Say okay. We didn't change some of our stuff on there, so let's get this to here, get that to there. Say okay, and now we have a pretty good shape. So now here's a good opportunity to change something, right? This 2:1 is incorrect, and every time you mess with the scale, I would strongly suggest addressing it like right then and there so you don't forget it. So if I go to my perfect title block inside of 2.2, not up here. I'm going to close that now, so I'm not even looking at it. Go to field text, go to edit field text, and now I can enter 4-1. Say okay. See it pops up. It makes the change. Date's good, everything else is good. I can start throwing in my dimensions, and my dimensions are going to go pretty quick, right? They're the exact same as the last one. They're just going to be half size, right? So we'll go through and take care of that now. So let me get this out of the way. So annotate, dimension, we are here. Again, I'll hit the space bar to click me the way I want. Say okay. Here and there, click the way I want. Good, say okay. Click. Good. Click. Good. Click here. Get that the way we want. Say okay. And that one's done. Okay. Again, I would go down here. I would hit new sheet. I don't need to do that. You do, but I don't. So I'm going to go to ISO 3. Well, I'm in the dimension tool, so it doesn't want to let me out of there, but now I'm out. I'm frozen. That was weird. All right, so ISO 3, go to place views, go to base. Got to go find the view, ISO 3. Okay. It says my scale is 1.5 to 1. You would type this in by hand. I kind of already have it from having done it earlier. Click that up like that. Everything looks good. Say okay. I forgot to take care of our lines again. Usually it remembers some of these things, but it doesn't seem to want to remember it for this run here. Hopefully yours does. Go to annotate. I'm going to click this off on my other screen, start popping these dimensions in. The reason we're doing this together is some of these can be tricky. So like, for example, I've got to somehow go from here to up here. If I click there to there, it doesn't like that, right? I have to click here and then to this point, and it'll pull it off correctly. So that looks good. Say okay. Let's do the 2 that goes here, from here to here. Doesn't want us to do that one. Again, can be real quirky. Sometimes you got to do a lot of clicking, a lot of space barring, grabbing in different places. So I'm going to go here to this point now. Still isn't letting me change the view the way I want. If I grab it right here, it does. You know, it can just be finicky in how you do it. So sometimes you got to just keep grabbing. Another trap you can fall into is when you're working, if you go and you grab a dimension. So like, for example, we're going to need this one. If you're not careful, if you grab that midpoint, it'll screw up on you. You'll say, why isn't it working? And it's because you grabbed that midpoint snap. If I just go down a little bit further, it pulls it off the way I want it to pull it off. So there's the 1. Say okay. Pop this 1 in here. Say okay. Bring this 2 out. Hit spacebar. We're going to move this a little bit so that it fits a little bit better. Let's pull these 2. I have to be out of the command. I just hit the escape key a few times to get me out of the dimension command. Now I can click here, pull this up a little bit, give myself a little more room on the bottom, pull that out a little bit. Awesome. Actually, this should go back in because we got to get the overall on here. So go to dimension. Again, talking about how things can be a little quirky. I'm going to go from here to here, and it's going to pull correctly. If I had gone, you know, here to there, it wouldn't have liked it. So just how you grab it, and there's not always a rhyme or reason that makes sense. So sometimes it takes some hunting and some pecking to get it. But if you stay with it, you'll figure it out. Like this one here can be tricky, right? We're going to go from this line to this point, and that should pull me off. All right, good. Awesome. Ken, you would go and make a new sketch. I'm not gonna. I'm just going to go to ISO 4. I'm going to get out of my stuff here. Okay, go to place views, go to base, go find my drawing, ISO 4. Scale is 1:1. Now this is an opportunity to show you something else. So we're going to go 1:1. And we're going to go isometric. You notice that's small, and it's small because we made a mistake. If you notice, if I take a look at my drawing here and then I bring this one over, when I made my drawing, it didn't come out correctly. If you notice, this is long and thin, this is shorter and fatter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a change to my drawing. I'm going to go into Inventor, go to File, I'm going to go to Open, and I'm going to open ISO 4, right? Open ISO 4. If you notice, what I did wrong was I'll show you in the drawing. So if we go to perfect title block, go to isometrics, base view, 1:1. We'll place it, say okay. I'm going to dimension it. If you notice, it says it has a diameter. That's what that circle with the slash to it means. It means diameter of 0.087. Well, it should be, if you notice in my drawing, a radius of 0.087. So I made it the wrong size. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to ISO 4. And this is why Inventor is awesome. You're going to go to this extrusion, and we want the sketch. I don't know, let's see. Yep, we want the sketch. We're going to double click on that, and so it automatically gave us the diameter. We want the radius. So let's say 0.886, and we're going to go, this is kind of something new to you, times, which is on the number key, 2. Hit enter. So that'll make it the diameter that we want. We're going to go to finish sketch. We're going to hit save. And then if you look, it'll automatically update that in the other drawing. How cool is that? At least I think it's cool. So that's that if you were curious. We also have an incorrect scale here, right? Because we still need this bigger. So let's double click on it. Change our scale. Let's go to 2:1. Let's see how that goes. I think that's pretty decent. I think we could probably make that work. So let's say okay. We also got to change, get this and this clicked. Say okay. Drag my drawing up a little bit. It looks like I can get the whole thing in, and then I can drag this to someplace else. I'm going to delete that because it looks like it didn't go in a way that it's going to make it too easy for us to move around. Click that there. See if I can make that look. Whoa. Actually, another cool thing. People had some complaints about this in AutoCAD. You can click this into place and then make it work the way you want. So click that in and say I don't like the way that text is. I can get out of the dimension command, and then lots of times I can manipulate this to move. See, I can do that to it if I wanted to. I don't know, whichever one you think is better. But all right, and then we'll go to dimension, and I'm going to try to go arc to arc. Let's see if that works. All right, I know I need a dimension of 2.75. I would say I accomplished that. The only problem we have right now is getting this whole thing to fit. Hopefully this scale can last. Let's try to pull the cylinder down a little bit. That looks decent enough. It'd be nice to get that 275 a little further away. I don't think that's too bad. We could use that. So there's 2.75. We like that. So now we just changed our scale to 2 to 1. So we got to go into the perfect title block, got to go to the field text, edit field text, change this 2 to 1, say OK. We named it A4. We're good to go. Okay, let's go to ISO 5, go to base, bring our drawing in, ISO 5. Let's try to, for the first time, click these two so we don't forget. Looks like the scale is once again 2 to 1, so we'll put that. Say OK. We'll move this into place a little bit so it's a little more centered. Maybe we'll have to move it again. I don't know. We'll see. So let's get into some dimensioning. Right? There's a lot of dimensions on this drawing and some quirky ones. Again, this is part of the reason that we're doing this all together. So let's go through and deal with the first one first, the first difficult one. Let's try, if I remember right, I clicked here, and then I was able to click on something with this radius. Oh, I'm not on dimension yet. Click here, and then click there, and I was able to pull it off, which was awkward, right? Because if I clicked here and there, it'll still let me both ways. Oh, it let me, but it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me hit the space bar to move it the way I wanted it. Where if I did this, this worked for me, and I found this dot and pulled it off, then I could space bar, but it's not letting me do it right now. It let me pull it off to the side. Let me try if I can, a couple more things here. Maybe we can get it to work. So I went. Let's see if we go. Let's try the dot first. Then we'll try this dot. Ooh, see that? Again, you don't know until you click and you hit the space bar a couple of times, and maybe you get it the way you want it. So I like the way that came out. That's good. Let's keep going here. Let's put this radius on. Looks good. Say OK. We need this 0.5 over here. We like the orientation of that. That's good. Say OK. Let's get this thickness. Tab that way. That looks good. Grab this 1.5 over here. Say OK. Then we'll do some of the overalls. Let's do here to there. That worked out good. We know that's the biggest one, so let's get it away so we've got room for the others. Say OK. Let's go and grab this one. Tab. That came out good. Let's grab our radius here. Pull that off. Someplace good and out of the way. Also, something else you might not have seen before, but we can go and type something after this now. So where it says 0.5, I can type in THRU, and that'll tell me that the hole goes all the way through. So there's something for us. Let's also go through and pop this one in. We're going to go from here to here so we can dimension where that's located. We'll pop that there. I think that works. Let's go. I think that's all of them. Yeah, I think that covers it. Okay, if I missed one, you can go back and do it. I'm kind of making an effort to go through as quickly as I can here. This one really should come off now, too. It's a little awkward looking, but this is where it should be to line those overalls up. Okay. All right, so good on that one. Let's go to 6. Go to base. Go find our view. ISO 6. Our scale, it says down there is going to be 2 to 1. Hopefully that works out. It's okay. Put that there. We'll go through and start dimensioning. Click on this and this. Say OK. I think I just unclicked something. Looks like I took the shaded off. Okay, we'll move that up a little bit. And go to dimension. Go to annotate. Go to dimension. This one was pretty simple. Let's just go here to here and see if it likes us. Nope. Let's try to go dot to dot. It likes that. So we're good there. Say OK. Once again, let's go dot to dot. Again, you never really know. Didn't really like that one. So let's try it again. I'm going to try the exact same way because it really feels like that should have worked. But I guess not. So let's try this line to this dot. And it likes that. Again, you never really know. If you can figure out the rhyme or reason to knowing exactly how it's going to do it, feel free to let me know. But we have not had good luck yet with that idea. So there to there. Let's pull this one off. Say OK. And here. You know, I'm popping these on real quick. You know, I'm going to tell you that you should be using the drawing as your reference. Don't use what I'm doing now, only because I am trying to go quick with it. Whatever the final drawings that are in your network folder, those are the ones you should be using for how this should work. So if I make a mistake here, you know, don't hold me to it, I guess. Try here. Here to there. Say OK. Here's our 175. Say okay. Here's our 125. I think that's all of them. Looks good. Double click, escape out of this, go to 1.7. I swear they're going to get a little trickier as we go. I think this one's easy too. Oh, no, there's a quirky part to this one, so I'm glad we're doing it. Go to base. ISO 7, we want a scale of 2 to 1. Say okay. Forgot to change our orientation the way we wanted it. Make sure our shaded and our hidden is off. Awesome. Move this up. Start dimensioning. And we got some real messed up stuff going on there. That should be 1. So something quirky's going on here. Don't ask me what it is, because that should be 1. But it looks like it doesn't like it. Let's delete this view. I don't know if this view went in right. I think this is struggling because I had to edit the view orientation, so I still think it's pulling it off a different view. And I'll bet you anything, if I delete this out of here, then I come back to place views, and I put it in the correct way the first time. So go to ISO 7, go to the home view, make it 2 to 1, say okay. It's alright, we forgot these. That shouldn't kill us. Say okay, move it up here. Go to annotate, go to dimension. I'll bet you anything. See, I'm right. And it's because when it originally went in as like a front view. And if you look at this isometric drawing from the front view, it gives you a different dimension. It just confuses it. So, again, one of the reasons we're doing the video, I'm glad you got to see that. So if that's a problem for you, it's something that you can fix. All right, 7.5, say okay. The hard one is the last one. I'm going to try to do it last at least. That one went in just fine. Let's go here to there. That little trick seems to be getting better and better for us. Let's go here to here. Also a good trick, when you have 2 dimensions real close like that, I think it helps to offset the numbers a little bit. Just makes it a little bit more readable. So the tricky one is getting this situation here where it's got to pull this off into space way over here. So like, I feel like you should be going here to there, and that gives us 1, but it won't let me click it. So forget exactly how I did it. We'll try a little bit here and see if we can't figure something out. So dimension here. If we do now here to there, no, it's an angle. It was getting to, what if we, nope, dimension. Still doesn't look quite right. I don't know. We're going to mess with that one. I did get it right. I'll show you if I have it open. I did get it right, so if you play with it enough, you're going to get it, but I'm having a hard time finding it right now. See, I can kind of get that one around the back side. I want that situation, but on the front. What if, maybe if we did this, and you know what I did on a couple other ones? So if I double click on this and I click on that line, it'll make my hidden line show. So sometimes that can help you grab the right line, and then you can make the hidden lines go away later. So let's click here, and then I think we're still doing the same thing. Yep, still not quite right. So I don't know. You have to keep playing with it. I'm going to skip it. I don't know exactly the answer. I'll see if I can come back and make an addendum so you can figure it out later. But if you have any questions, you can come up and ask about that one. All right, so let's go to 8. So let's go to place views, go to base, go to here, ISO 8, choose our home view. Should be 3 to 1. We need another opportunity to make a change here. So let's say there and there. Say OK. Pull this up. Go to dimension. And we'll start popping those in. So right off the rip, we can tell we have a problem. It says 1.0. Should be 0.75. I made a mistake in my drawing. So let's go back in and open that up. Go to File. Go to Open. What are we on? ISO 8. So we got to find this dimension and where it was made. Looks like, I think if we change this extrusion, let's go to edit feature. Instead of that, let's make this 0.75. Say OK. And then, did I just change the wrong drawing? No. So I got to do that to this one too. So we got to find this extrusion, which is right there. Go to edit feature. Make this 0.5. Looks like 0.5. Say OK, and that gets us a little more correct. So then we'll hit save, hit X. You notice everything changes. It's the best part about Inventor. Everything is very intuitive. You make a change in one place and it changes it everywhere else. So that's cool. So let's go dimension. Bring this 0.75 up. Awesome. Say OK. Let's go here. We got to make this overall. Should be 0.75. Which actually, we really don't need that. We've got that one above. Right, so because we have this one, we don't need this one down here. So we'll leave that off. So let's go dimension. Pull this one. Should be 0.5. Say OK. Then let's go this line. 1.25. Say OK. Let's go here to this point. 1.5, I think we like that. We also have that situation now where we can get these dimensions off of each other on another a little bit. We need this height. Bring it out to that one. Say OK, and I think that covers pretty close to all of them. Okay, so I think we're good there. Yeah, that thickness we should have. Maybe this height we probably need. That's not on there. So let's get that one on there. Say OK. We have that, so we don't need that. Everything else should be good, or we can find it. So there's 8. Cool. Let's go to 9. Trying to go as fast as we can here. Going to 9. Go to place view. Go to base. 9. Going to make this 3 to 1. And choose our home view. Click and click. Say OK. I must have just unclicked. Okay, and we'll start popping these in. Go to annotate, go to dimension here, spacebar, say OK here, spacebar, or say OK. Let's put this little one in here. I think this one makes a little more sense than what I had in my drawing. Another thing you could do, another cool little trick, it says 0.25. Let's bring this up. Then I'm going to hit a space, and I'm going to choose the square, which means when you see that, it's 0.25 squared. Again, you can do this in AutoCAD too, but it's a little clunkier. It's not the easiest thing to manipulate, so just something that can be helpful. Let's pull 0.75 off. Let's also, I don't see an overall on our original. I don't know if I put it on a different version, but so let's bring that out. We have to move some things around. Let's move the whole view so everything's fitting. Back to dimension, grab the high one here. Say OK, and I think that covers us. We can move on to 10. 10, couple of things. One is when you go to 10, sorry, we're not there yet. When you go to 10, you have the problem of all of a sudden not being able to fit, right? Because if I go to A9, right, A9 fits, but if I hit 10, it's not going to fit. So what I did is I went up to and I said, if I was going to a new sheet, so if I have room to make one new sheet, and what I did was I just said, okay, and then once I had it, I went to title block and I went to edit definition. And I changed this, and I made the size of this text, instead it was 0.5, I just changed it to 0.4. So I highlighted the text, changed it to 0.4, click, say OK, and then that worked for me. So then I said finish sketch, and it says, do you want to save it? And I hit save as. And when I hit save as, I saved it as title block 2. Okay, so then hit cancel. You would say save as. I'm hitting cancel because I've already done all this. So finish sketch. I'm going to say no to save it. So I've still got my thing here. So if I come back to 14 and go to delete, all I got to do is now perfect title block 2 will show up. Right click, go to insert, put all my stuff in, and then when you see, if I go to field text, go to edit field text, I'll just name this A10. Say OK, and now that fits. But I needed a second title block in order to do that. Hopefully you understood what I was trying to say there. I'm going to then delete this now because I do not need it. It was my 14th one. I'm on 10. Let's add our view. Place view, go to base, go to 10, bring in the A, change the size, go to 3D, it's 3:1, say OK, move it a little better into place, and let's put some dimensions on. So annotate, dimension, oops, see that one just got me. I grabbed the that midpoint tool. So 0.5, I'm going to put the square in, so I don't have to put it in once. So 0.5 squared, let's get an overall. So I'm going to go here to there. Apparently I want to go down with it. Say OK. Then go, I went there to there. That worked. 0.33. Say OK. Here to here is 0.5. Say OK. Here to there, 0.5. Get the overall. No, 1. That 0.5, that second 0.5 didn't go in quite right. Got the right dimension, but it's a little wonky. And what you can do is if you grab, sometimes you can grab midpoint. I think I missed it. Grab midpoint to midpoint. So grab there to there, it'll pull it off correctly so it can stay in that same, like that 30-degree orientation. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. I think we're good. Again, maybe there'll be something on the sheet that I didn't leave here, but looks like it's pretty good to me. So, all right, get out of dimension. Go to 11. We're getting close now. Come on, get out. 11. If you notice, when I did 11, I changed it to B1. And I only did that because I'm going to make 11, 12, and 13 B1, 2, and 3 because those last 3 drawings are kind of creative, right? There's something new that, you know, that the other ones were all ones I gave you, and the last 3 were sort of creative. So we're going to treat it like it's a different category, and that's how that's supposed to work, right? Everything in a category fits in one letter, then you change category. So if I was doing like floor plans, right? Say everything was like related to the first floor. Everything related to the first floor might be, you know, in the A's. Everything related to the second floor might be in the B's. Everything related to the like outside of the building might be C's, and you keep going on like that. So we're changing categories a little bit, so we're going to make it B1. All right, so go to place view, base, and now we're getting into some of the harder stuff, getting into my cell phone here. Cell phone we used 1:1, which just barely fit. Now you're going to have to do what you're going to have to do. Yours is going to be specific to you. Change this, and then say OK. Pull that up a little bit, and I can start to pull off dimensions. I am not going to dimension this one as a group only because I just don't think it's necessary. You can see what I'm trying to accomplish. You'll have it on the sheet, but there's nothing overly quirky about it, so we'll just move on to 12. So let's go to 12. 12 there was. If we go to base, and 12 was the one that's been hard to draw all along. So we'll go and we'll bump this up to 2.5 to 1 was what worked for me. And we'll choose our isometric view. And this is definitely one of those where we don't have the orientation we want. See, we want this orientation, but the isometric puts us in a different view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the little arrow here, go to Create Custom View. And now I've got to get this thing to turn the way that I want it to turn. And so if I click on this enough times, I have a hard time sometimes getting this exactly right. You can always go back to F6. All right, click that, click there, and that's the one I want right there. So finish custom sketch. It pops it the way that I want. Everything else looks good. Say OK. That was the first quirky part. The second quirky part is, I'll show you as it comes up here. So let's start dimensioning. We can start with the first quirky one right now. Go to Annotate, Dimension, and let's grab this inside one. Now it's going to matter what the depth is because it doesn't go all the way down. So we need the depth tool. So we're going to hit Enter, so it's on the next line. And the depth tool is right here, and then we're going to say depth of 0.25, right? Say OK. That comes out the way we want it to come out. Grab a dimension here. Grab that 1 and pull it off. Say OK. Grab this 0.5 and pull it off. And I actually lied, didn't I? This did not end up in the orientation I wanted. I don't really know what happened there, but let's fix it. So let's go like this. Choose here. Create custom view. I thought we had it, but I guess we didn't. That's the one we want right there. Finish custom view, and it messes with all my Oh, maybe I hit escape last time. Maybe that's why, because I did have it. I thought I had it right. So let's delete those. Double click. Custom view. Click this top arrow twice. 3 times. Finish custom sketch. Say OK. I must have got the cart in front of the horse there. All right, one more time. Dimension. In here. Hit enter. Depth symbol. 0.25. Say OK. Dimension. Pull that arc off. Say OK. Pull this arc off. And I got that midpoint again. 0.5. And now we're back where we were. Let's do the back. Actually, let's not. So the quirky one here is trying to get this 2. This 2 from the back of the object to the front. It really took me quite a while. What should happen is I should be able to grab from here to there, but it keeps giving me this 189 because I kind of can't get that back quadrant. So what I did was I turned those hidden lines on. Say OK. And then I went from, if I remember right, from here to the front quadrant of this, and that gave me my 2. So what I did was I selected the arc on the back. So in this one, it selects this center point and then goes to the back. We just changed it. We went from the outside of the object to the center point in the back, and that worked. So click it down. Oh, we couldn't click it down. I had to put it in this way. So again, I had a hard time with it. Maybe you can figure it out better than I did, but that was what I came up with. All right, so then we go, and we also back in now. We can turn those hidden lines off. We don't need them. We've used them. So change to this. And then put the rest of our dimensions in, and we're going to go from here to here, I think we went. No, something like that. Maybe it was here to here. Here to there. That looks good. Say OK, and then we can go here to here. Say OK, and I think we're good there. Okay, so now on to the last one, which was my coffee cup. I'm going to show you how to dimension that. Go to Place Views, Base. I chose, it's on here, 0.75 to 1, so a little less than 1 to 1. Change my drawing. I think that worked for us, yeah, 0.75, say OK. And there was some quirkiness to this one. Mostly grabbing the bottom here. So if we go to Annotate, and we chose my object, and I try to grab this, that didn't work. Choose here, and then choose the bottom one and try to pull off. That actually worked. So that's good. What I was doing earlier was I was having a hard time grabbing that bottom one. So I had to do the same thing we just did. If you're having a hard time grabbing the right circle, you can go and you can turn on those hidden lines again. You can see everything from the inside. So I can dimension from here, and let's just say for some reason I was having a hard time grabbing this. I can do it to here. See, so like that one didn't work. Let's try it again. Let's go here to actually grab it on the outside edge. There's that 3/6. Another good example of a spot where we should pull our dimensions around a little bit to make them a little more readable. All right, dimension, and then let's go this 0.175. I grabbed that here and there, and that worked for me. Say OK. Then I went here to there, pulled that off. Say OK. I used my 0.25. Remember I was telling you, one nice thing is you can move that 0.25 around a little bit. I can grab that thing, just pull it down here, double click on it, and then hit square. So you can say it's square. We just need some radiuses here, so let's go dimension, pull this off. So it's 0.311, and then I'm going to put that thickness into, so I'll say thick 0.1190. It's okay, that all seems to fit. Other than that, I think we're pretty good. So I'm going to stop now just to, I'll come back and do a different video for how to turn this into sheets. And we've done all the dimensioning. Hopefully this is the majority of what you need. If you have any questions, obviously come up and ask. But otherwise, good luck, go to work.